Hi, my name is Jim Bennett, and for the next few moments I will show you how easy it is to install a stainless steel wire balustrade. First, let's examine the components you will need for System D. Saddles as the anchor points, thimbles for the wire to wrap around, ferrules for the hand crimping the wire in place, the jaw and jaw rigging screw, and lastly the split grommets if desired. The wire we will use will be of 7x7 or 7x19 construction.
First of all, you will need to attach the saddles to the post. To do so, make up a simple template using a scrap piece of board, Next, you will need to make the correct spacings for your wires. Current BCA regulations require that your wires should be spaced at 80mm centres. Here you see the person marking them out. After marking the 80mm centres, you will need to place the saddles ready for drilling them out. In this case, the hole centres are 20mm either side of the wire centres. Once you have completed the drilling, you'll be then ready for attaching your template onto your anchor post. Next, mark the centre of your post. A handy tip is to mark that distance on a tri-square. Once you have the centre of the post, you will be ready to clamp on your template. Once it is clamped in position, you will be ready for drilling your holes for future attachment of the saddles. The holes that are currently being drilled are the ones which the saddles will screw into. Note 20mm either side of the centre line, ready for screwing the saddles onto the anchor post. It is a good idea to attach the saddles with only one screw at this stage, as they will need to be loose to allow the wire to be fed into them later. If you wish, you can make up a new template for marking the distances that the wires run through in your intermediate post. This distance will be exactly the same as that marked out on your saddle template post.
Here you see the person measuring 80mm spacings. A tri-square is then used to continue the line from each side of the template. Next, measure the centre of the template. This distance can then be marked on the 80mm spacing lines. If you wish, you can transfer this measurement onto a tri-square and in turn mark the centre of your spacing line. Next, drill out the centre markings with a suitable size drill. Remember that if you are going to use grommets later, it is a good idea to use a 9mm drill bit so the grommets can be plugged in later.
After making your template, it is important that it is positioned on the centre of your intermediate post. Mark the centre of your post for attaching your drilling template. A handy tip is to mark that distance on a tri-square. Once you have transferred this distance onto your post, you'll be ready for attaching your drilling template. The template for drilling will then be securely clamped onto this post. A handy tip is to drill halfway through the post and then to relocate the template on the other side of the intermediate post and drill through. This will ensure that the wires both enter and exit square to the post. Here we see the person measuring the inside to inside distance required to cut the wires.
For System D, we generally recommend that you deduct 70 millimeters from the inside to inside measurement. This is the length that you cut your wire, but it's always a good idea to try one first.
Using a pair of parrot beak wire cutters, cut your wire to this length. Next, feed the wires through your intermediate posts. Once you have done this, you'll be ready for putting the thimbles and ferrules on the end of your wires. First, mark your wire with a permanent marker 85 millimeters from the end. Next, slide a swage ferrule over the wire and loop the wire back through the swage ferrule. Place a thimble inside the loop and squeeze up the ferrule. You will notice the black texture mark showing. Place the swage ferrule between the jaws of the hand crimper and squeeze the handles together. Attaching the looped swage end onto the saddle is easy. Pass it through the saddle, then screw the other end of the saddle to the anchor post.
Here we see the jaw and jaw rigging screw tensioner. As with the open frame jaw and jaw turnbuckle, start by winding the jaws out approximately 20 millimeters from each end. Next, remove the spring wire clip and the clevis pin from both ends. Place the swage loop through the jaw and secure it with a clevis pin and spring wire clip. Next, place the other jaw over the fixed anchor saddle and secure it with a clevis pin and spring wire clip as shown here. You are now ready for tensioning your wire by rotating the body of the rigging screw. Adjust the tension by hand and then using a rigging spanner or similar to achieve the final tension.
If you wish to insert grommets into your intermediate post, you will need a 9mm hole. Open the grommet with a suitable implement. In this case we're using a biro. Hold it to the wire, remove the biro and slide the grommet along the wire and plug it into the post. Remember, AAA Metal Suppliers for all your balustrading needs.